Hi everyone. Hi. Welcome to my live stream today. Let me put on my headsets. So sorry, I was a little bit late. I think I was a minute late. Who's here? Who's here? It's early morning here, and I'm trying to make some tea as I wait on my guest to join me. How is everyone doing today? How is the weather? How is everyone doing? And let me just wait to see. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so my guest is coming in. So give me just 1 second. Hi, Esther. How are you? Thank you for joining me today. If you've just joined in, remember to give the video a thumbs up on the YouTube side. If you're coming in from Facebook, you're free to share the live stream with your colleagues, with your friends, with your fans, so that we can have this stream going. So how is everyone doing? How is everyone? I'm trying to see here. So who's here? Esther, where are you watching from? If you're in Uganda, how is it? How is it? So I'm just waiting for my guest to join me. So give me just a few minutes. I'm trying to see what's going on. Otherwise, how is everyone who's here? Whoever has joined in, remember to give the stream a thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment. Thank you, Esther, for joining me. I really appreciate. So let me see if I can get the guest on. Let me try to see if I can get him on. So the guest is on here, so I'll give him just a second to join. Just 1 minute. Okay, so the guest is here now, and we are going to start the chat right away. So let me put him on. Just 1 minute. Hi, Roy.
Hey Liz, how are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good. Looks like you're bundled up. I don't know what's going on.
Well, our weather here, you cannot know how tomorrow will be. So it's a bit cloudy. So it's not very warm today, but it can change any minute.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think Colorado gets a lot of sun. Well, it snowed
yeah.
last night, so we're in the same boat.
Right. Glad to have you.
Yeah, good to be on your show.
Thank you. And I'm glad you honored my invite on short notice. I
Yeah,
know
I
it
mean,
can be busy here.
yeah, it gets busy. That's one thing that I didn't realize when I moved here was when people are at work, they don't pick up their phones, unlike Uganda, where you can pick up your phone anytime. So yeah, people get busy, but I'm honored to be on here with you.
Thank you. So everyone that is joining in today, thank you. You can give the video a thumbs up. You can. So today we're just talking about one of our colleagues. The guest today is from Uganda and currently living in the United States, like I am. So we're just going to browse through and chat about life here and back home, and also he's passionate about entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in that, please tune in. And if you have any questions at the end, we can do a Q&A. So briefly, Roy, give us briefly who you are and also how you came here many years ago. And yeah, just a little bit of the story.
Yeah, my name is Roy. My first name actually is Paul, but I switched things around in primary. My original first name was Roy, so it's kind of wherever I am, I prefer to be called by Roy anyway. So I'm
Okay.
Roy Barigayomwe. Was born and raised in Kabale, but I would say I grew up all over Uganda because my parents worked for government, so they were always moving around. So I've had the rare privilege of visiting most parts of Uganda. Yeah, so I come from a family of 14 siblings,
Wow.
and I have really had a, I say, diverse career. My first employer was my mother. So
Wow.
she was a teacher, but also transitioned into business. And so I got my first exposure to business, to the business world through working with my mother. And so, yeah, and my parents had an entrepreneurial thing going on. So that's really how I was raised. And so I moved to the US in 2012. And I took on different jobs, to transition and to settle in here. But one of my ultimate thing was to be in business because, like I said, that was my exposure from my family. And I'd always desired to take the family business to the next level. And so that's why when I got here and saw how things work, my ultimate goal was to get into business. So I did some healthcare along the way. I did some merchandising in Target. I worked in mental health, so, but then eventually started a small business, a film business, because that's my original training. I did some journalism in Uganda, worked for as a freelance for the Monitor. Then I also worked for Watoto in the film production. So yeah, that's pretty much a brief of who I am, where I've been. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite interesting that you were able to um okay, you want to say hi? You can say hi.
Hi, beautiful lady. What's your name?
He's asking, what's your name?
What's your name?
No, no. What's your
Your
name?
name.
My name is Luna.
Say
Sorry.
again.
That's a name.
No, no. Say
Go.
your name. What's your name?
My name is Luna.
Luna.
Luna, beautiful name.
Okay. Say bye
Great to meet you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Okay. I'll see you later. Okay.
I'm just going.
No, I'm still busy. So sorry. She's always wanting to do this since I
Well,
started. She's my co-host
co-host.
every.
Yeah. You know what? She is doing internship right now. So don't be surprised when she's like, one time she's like, okay, it's my turn.
Yeah. So that's really quite interesting. So talk about when you first came here. What were those first shocks that you got? I mean, regarding to food, whatever. Just tell us your story.
Yeah. So some of my first shocks were I lived in New York City, from Kampala to New York City. That was a little bit of a change. So the first time I went downtown Manhattan, I went with my producer, the lady that hosted me then. And so we went into the train and went all the way down to downtown. So I wasn't intimidated by the sheer number of people and the traffic and the streets that we had to cross. It was so busy and overwhelming. So yeah, that was my first shock of like, that's a lot of people. But also on the positive side, sitting in that train, I think it must have been the E train for those of you who have lived in New York, E or F from Queens to downtown. I was amazed in a great way about the diversity on that train, all shades of color. So something that I'd never seen anywhere in the world. So that was a great shock of like, wow, look at all these people, all different colors, all different shades, all different styles. But then the other shock was I was used to when you get into a taxi in Kampala or wherever you are in Uganda, you say hi to your neighbor and strike up a conversation. So in New York City, everyone was like reading their Nook, or I didn't even know what a Nook was there. I was like, what are they reading?
What are they doing?
So everyone's minding their own business, headphones on, and then like during rush hour, the congestion on those trains, it was very, very incredible seeing that. So
Cool.
then one other shock that I had was I went to the barber shop to get a haircut. And so the guy, after shaving my head, then he's like, that's it. I'm like, wait a minute. What about my beard? He's like, oh, that's it. You want to pay extra? Like it was going to be an extra $5. I was like, what? I've paid for $12. That's the most I'd ever paid for a haircut. Because when I was new to the US, I was converting everything. When I went to buy a loaf of bread, I would convert. Okay, they're asking for $10. How much is that? Let's like 35.
And
35,000.
my cousin said whenever she would go to the mall and convert everything, she would leave without buying anything because she's like, wait, what? I'm not going to buy bread that is going to cost me 70,000. Come
Right.
on, then she would end up going home without anything.
Yeah, so that was a really big shock. Honestly, I can tell you that was the first and last time I went to a barber shop in the US. It's surprising. The funny thing is one of the people that I live with gave me a little shaver. So from there on out, I buy my own shaver. I do
And
my own shaving.
that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much those barbershops, or we call them saloons, how much they charge here. It's ridiculously expensive for our type of hair. That's why I leave mine the way it is. I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay all that money. $150 just to do normal braids that are going to last 1 month. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. So it's really yeah, it's different. Uh, Someone is saying I did the same, and it's the biggest stress to give yourself when you want to buy Starbucks and see how much you spend for coffee. That's EBM. Yeah, it's ridiculous how much you pay for something, especially if you're going to convert it to back home. You're going to have stress, and even the
Exactly.
shipping. If you're going to buy something online and the shipment, I mean, the cost, you're like, what? Like, that's too much. And then you may end up not buying anything.
Yeah. But with time, obviously, like as you work and all that, you kind of get acclimated and you're like, okay, this is what it is. So the conversion kind of reduces, but it's really every now and then you kind of convert and say, oh, this is how much it is. But initially, it's a really big shock. You're like, what? I'm spending like $50,000, $50,000, right? Uganda shillings on a haircut. That's ridiculous.
So, how was the food for you and the weather and all that?
So thankfully, I moved here during spring. So it was April, coincidentally, April 30th is when I moved to the US. Um, I had traveled elsewhere in the world, so I had experienced the winter before. For just a few weeks, I would say, experienced adverse weather. But it was really good that I moved here in spring, so that kind of gave me a really good transition into summer and then into fall and then into winter. So I appreciated that. Then when it came to food, some of the milk, right? I actually was having this conversation with my wife a couple of days ago. The 2% milk, the first time I drank the 2% milk, I was like, what is this? It tasted so bad. But then eventually I've gotten used to it. I actually now drink almond milk. We drink almond milk. But the very first time I tasted 2% milk, it was like nauseous. And then things like honey, like you know how you grill chicken and then maybe add some honey to it, you know, stuff like that, adding sugar to stuff. Like that was like really ridiculous. But I've eventually gotten used to it.
I know. I feel like people here have a sweet tooth. They want
Yeah.
it's like in the culture you find even the donuts you buy in the stores, it's already sugar. Then they get more sugar and put on the toppings. So the other day I was telling my husband, if you're going to make those cookies, reduce on that. Why are you adding more sugar? It's already sugar. Like he's like, that's what the recipe says. I said, I don't care about the recipe. Don't add that sugar on the topping. It's already sugar already.
Yeah.
So
You have
we're
to
going
add
to be
sugar upon sugar.
right. I'm going to be biting on pieces of sugar. No,
Mhm.
it doesn't taste
Yeah.
good. So it's really something. And then also, like you said, the foods in Uganda, mostly food you put salt. Like we
Mhm.
don't usually sweeten our food.
Yeah.
So that, like yesterday, we had a meal and it was basically as my husband told me what it's called, but we call it simsim in Uganda, but it's
Okay.
called sesame here.
Sesame. Yeah.
So yeah, so we had that with tortellini and stuff, and it's lots of sugar. So I remember at the start it tasted really nice, and towards the end I was like, no, I'm done with this. Too much sugar. Like, okay, at first it tastes really nice as you keep eating, but at the end you can't eat much.
Hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
some of my greatest culture shocks with food. I was traveling. I was in Australia, I believe. And you know, Australia and seafoods. Actually, the first time was here in the US in Texas. So we were being hosted by this kind of gentleman in Texas, and he was so excited about serving sushi to us. So he brought us this tray of sushi, and I tried the sushi. I'm like, what is this in this world? And then the next shock was we were in Australia, no, New Zealand actually, and same thing. These hosts, just like you, when you're excited about your binyebwa and matoke, and bring it to your guest, and they're from a whole different world, and they're like, okay, what is this? So my experience with mussels. Have you tried mussels before?
No, no. What
Man,
is that?
that was the most disgusting thing I ever tried.
Is it
Honestly,
like raw meat?
it is seafood. Mussels is kind of seafood. You know, like it's one of those classified of like.
Oh, my husband likes that, and
Yep.
when he tried me to test it, I didn't because it
I
was.
tried. So this host brought it to me and my boys. I was chaperoning about three boys, and so he brought it, and then he's so excited, and I try one, and I'm like, this is the end of the world, right? But thankfully he had some fried chicken on the side, so I ate one or a couple of them just to make him feel happy, and then I guess took it down with a bunch of chicken, and then
Okay, I don't know. For me, my gag reflex are so close. So if I feel like I won't eat that food, then I won't. There's a food place eating place I like. It's called Panda Express. They have really
okay,
really
yeah, I
good
got it.
food, but then the problem is they put so much oil. So one time, of course, we didn't cook and we're planning to go eat out. And I'm like, let's try Panda Express. So we go in, I'll sit on the table, and I tried to eat. And you're conscious, you're looking at the food
Hmm.
you're eating, you know it's not healthy. Like you're looking at the oil, and then it goes into your brain. And at one point, I felt like throwing up. I remember standing up and I told my husband, I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling good. And he's like, what's going on? You had a good time a minute ago. So after that incident, I told myself if I don't feel comfortable eating
Hmm.
something, I'm not going to try it because you're going to embarrass yourself by throwing up, and people will be like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And so, yeah. But I like the food from Panda Express. Every now and again, we
Yeah.
buy it, but I chose to always have, you know, how they have the fried rice and all this
Hmm.
stuff. So I choose the white rice,
Yeah.
which is not fried. And then you can have all the other greasy whatever you want to eat, but don't
Yeah.
have the fried rice which has oil and then get meat
Deep
that is already
fried.
dipped in, fried, and it's like dripping
Really.
literally,
Yep. Yep.
but it
Yeah.
tastes
So,
nice.
so my philosophy when it comes to food, actually, though, is when I was being trained, and think I credit like Watoto the way it prepared us before we traveled, is they'll tell you whenever you something is presented to you, you eat it and say thank you. So just because I mean you met a lot of people and they presented all kinds of different foods, so somehow you were trained to like, okay, I gotta eat it. But anyway, here on out, since then I've had a philosophy of I've got to try something more than once to before I write it off. So from that moment on, like I've gone ahead to eat all kinds of seafood, call it shrimp, call it mussels, call it sushi.
So do you eat them the way they are, or do you go home and re-prepare them the way you want?
Well, actually, the way they are, because I mean, you go out to dine. I've gone out to dine with different people at these sushi restaurants. Yeah, you pretty much. I got to the point where I started eating them the way they are. So yeah, that's my philosophy, and it kind of has really turned out to work for me because there is things that I thought I would never ever eat, but now it's more like yeah, some of these turn into some sort of delicacies. So
So you say the weather wasn't a big shock for you then?
so the weather, you know how the first time I got and I encountered winter was yeah first in South Africa. Their winter is just cold. I was surprised that you went to a restaurant and they gave you blankets to wrap yourself up. I was like, this is crazy. But then the first real winter was in the UK, and so we didn't even have the right clothing. I didn't have the right shoes. So I thought the right gloves. So I thought, wait a minute, people actually have to put up with this. Because we were wearing old schools during our winter experience. You know, old schools, right? The moccasins and stuff like that. Sorry, not moccasins, but canvas shoes and very thin
Uh,
gloves.
yeah, I think they call them tennis shoes here.
Yeah, so I didn't have the right clothing. So I was like, this is ridiculous. How do you even live through? I
Is
didn't.
UK colder than most of the states here? No, bring the other one.
UK is pretty cold. It doesn't usually snow that much, except up in Scotland. And we went up to Scotland, so it snowed quite a bit. And that was like the biggest snow they ever had in like probably 15 years. But so my assumption was they don't. I didn't realize they have special clothing for winter. So I was in shock. I was like, oh, you can't live like this, right? But then
Yeah.
when I moved here, obviously, like before winter, you kind of got prepared. Friends took me shopping. They told me you need to buy like underwear, clothes that you wear under your clothes, like those layers that you put on.
Hmm.
So they prepared me for winter. So when winter came, I was like, oh, when you have the right clothes, it's bearable.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. So tell us about your transition work-wise, career. Were you able to find a job within your career? As you've just explained your prior experience in Uganda and
Mhm.
how you had worked here and there. Did that help you much? And how was it for you?
So um, it was kind of a shock when I realized my degree does not necessarily convert when I moved here, right? I was like, oh, like when I was applying for jobs on Indeed and all those different sites, and so what their requirements were, it seemed like you needed to be like a multitasker. Like I wouldn't just go with my film production skills. They needed somebody who could do websites on the side, graphic design on the other. I was like, wow. So I quickly realized that my degree did not convert because people also wanted experience, working experience in the US. So what I did was, okay, I realized I'm not going to get into my ideal job that I would otherwise get in Uganda. So let me volunteer. So I volunteered for a local broadcast station so
Okay.
as to build my skills. And I applied for regular jobs, like, worked in Target, merchandising at night, stocking those shelves. But one thing I really want to say is every job that you do in this country trains you a lot, right? Because
That's right.
they train you, you learn about merchandising, you learn about when the trucks come into the store, what happens, what's the process of getting the boxes off the truck onto the conveyor belt and getting those boxes in specific sections on pallets into the store. So I learned a lot about merchandising, working those jobs. And then I also went into healthcare, mental health, residential care, taking care of teenagers that had some mental issues they were dealing with. So that in itself was also exposing of like, what issues that kids in this nation have to deal with, things that I was totally unaware of.
Right. And for me, I think my biggest challenge regarding work was, like you explained, how fast it is and
Mm-hmm.
how much they um, require from you as output
Mm-hmm.
as just one person. So when working in Uganda myself, I'd worked for Uganda breweries, so I was in the IT, and we majorly did training for people to use gadgets, use computers, use phones. So I thought I was somewhere until I until I started here. So my major challenge was, of course, the currency. So
Mm-hmm.
I work for a bank, and you have to know money and converting that money, especially the coins. I don't understand
Mm-hmm.
those coins. At first, it was so hard. $150.70. I'm like, what are the cents for? Just get rid of these cents, because it was so hard. And I remember asking my husband to teach me. I'm like, what these cents? I don't understand these cents. And then he starts
Mm-hmm.
telling me, when you get a quota, add to the quota. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, when you're at a job, you have to know what you're doing. So I had to teach myself this money before, of course, you get good on the job. Then my
Mm-hmm.
accent, generally, since if you work at a call center, you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
People will call in, and even before they talk to you, some people, not all of them, before they even talk to you, they are judging you by the way
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
sound. And then, of course, that hurts your ego, that hurts
Yeah.
your. So, like, I had to the first 3 months was like training for me. Like, my cousin called it Welcome to America, because I would, every evening I had to tell her, imagine somebody told me this. Imagine somebody, I know this is happening. And then she said, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
This is Welcome to America. Like, there's nothing different out there. Even if you went to New York, if you went to Texas, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
happening everywhere. And it could happen even if you go to Europe. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just America. Just know
Yeah.
you're just trying to transition.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was a big deal. And I remember at one point I wanted to quit my job. That is how bad it was. It was that bad. I remember, I think I was getting into depression. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it was. Maybe depression is a big word,
Mm-hmm.
but because of what's going on, you're already intimidated by the fact that people think you're not
Qualified.
talking to, I don't know. And it's not that you're not worth the job,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
because of the response you're getting every
Mm-hmm.
day, you start to think otherwise. You're like, am I fit for this job really? Then I
Yeah.
started to think negative. So at one
It
point I
is.
told my supervisor, I said, you know what, this is my first job in America. I've never worked here. This is my first job. I know I have this thick accent. I
Mm-hmm.
know all the, and you know what she told me? She told me, Liz, how many language do you speak? I said, I speak about 6. She
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what? I speak one language. You speak 6. So who is much better? Is it me or
Right.
you? Don't be intimidated by people that don't know you. Just
Mm-hmm.
go do your job. And I can tell you, a good person. I've trained you. I know who you are from the word go.
Mm-hmm.
Go do it. She's an older
Wow.
lady, and I
Wow.
listened to her because I was quitting that very week. It was too much.
Wow.
I have a toddler running in the house. I was going crazy, Roy. I was going crazy. I didn't know what to do. Of course, I like the money. The money is good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, I am
Stress.
going, yeah, I'm insane now. And
Yeah.
of course, you don't want to show everyone. I didn't tell anybody back home. I would show my husband I'm strong, but then cry with my cousin every evening. So
Yeah.
that first month, I would say was a test. And trust me, at this point, nothing can move me. Even if you call and I know what to do. I do my job. I let you, if you're coming with your frustrations and you yell at me, you do, like, it doesn't move me. It kind of transformed me into
You
this
got
new person.
you got steeled. Like
Now I'm now my heart is of steel. I'm like, I'm waiting for anything. Even if I walked out and somebody said something, I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, it's
Mhm.
okay, you move on. So that
Yeah.
was a good training for me, really, for better. I mean, even if I went back to Uganda, I started looking at things in a different perspective.
Mhm.
So was it the same for
Yeah.
you, or yours was a little bit better? It depends on where you work also. I work for mostly the Department of Unemployment and stuff like that. So
Okay.
people are already frustrated. I don't know if you
Frustrated.
mean what I
Yeah.
mean. Yes. So
Yeah.
it may not apply to anyone, everyone.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely always work cultures that really take you aback, right?
Hmm.
Like you said, it's really fast paced, and
It
then
is.
you're really trying to acclimate to how fast paced it is. One of
Hmm.
the shocks when I worked for Target was like how fast they wanted work to be done at night, stock up those shelves. The supervisors were, some of them were pretty mean. And it's nighttime, and sometimes you find yourself dozing. You're like, yeah, you gotta get going. And then before I quit, this guy decided to write me up. You know what they say? I'm gonna write you up. You
They
probably
say
haven't
that
had
a
that
lot.
experience. A lot of places, right?
Yeah.
So that
Even
was,
even on my job, they say that all the time. If you do this, I'll
yeah,
write you up.
yeah, I'm gonna
What
write
does
you
that?
up. What does that mean? You know how in
Ah,
Uganda we had the black book in school? You're getting into the
okay.
black book.
Then if you do it thrice, they terminate you.
Yeah. So anyway, that was of course, yes, you have to adjust the pace, but it takes time to adjust. And I feel like in some ways there was a little bit because most of us were immigrants that were working those night shifts. Because yeah, I mean, during the day some people are doing other work, so they come to do this night and then something during the day. So I feel like they were even harder on us because they're like, yeah, you guys are not gonna complain. But then when it came to like customer relations, and I actually got a job with a friend. A friend had an HVAC company, and air conditioning, heating and cooling, right?
Hmm.
When it's
Yeah, I've seen
winter,
those.
everyone wants their heat on. If a heat is out, that's an emergency. So I
Hmm.
did customer relations. So I
Hmm.
essentially called up the clients and told them, your technician is on the way, or let's set up a service for you. So I kind of experienced that whole,
Oh, the
accent thing.
frustration. Oh,
Yeah, I experienced a little bit of that. And
I think
honestly,
I,
like,
I think it's good for you to go through
it,
that. I
it
thank God
is.
I'm doing what I'm doing because I
Yeah,
know it prepares you for a better
absolutely.
person.
Absolutely. I think it really prepared me. Customer relations is something I wished I would never do in my life, ever.
Hi.
But it's turned out that after that job, I started a business when I moved to Minnesota. That was out on the East Coast. So when I moved to Minnesota, I had to start my business, and then right now my real estate business and sales business. Oops, did we lose Liz?
Actually,
So,
here
oh,
I'm
good.
still here. Yeah,
Okay.
I just switched to put you on the screen. Mhm.
Okay, so my real estate and sales business involves talking to a lot of people. So can you imagine the previous job that I did involved client relations, a lot of calls. I probably not less than 30 calls a day.
Mm.
But if I had stayed away from that, if I had stayed in my old mentality of I don't want to do client relations, I wouldn't have been that well prepared for my current business where I talk to a lot of clients,
Go
maybe
bring the remote.
homeowners. So I shared something on Facebook yesterday about detours and how they prepare us for the future. So I feel like some of these jobs and roles that I took on without even intending, they prepared me for, they gave me skills that I have leveraged in my future to make life much easier, to make business much easier.
Okay, that is really good. So currently, what do you do and what have you done? Over time, over this period.
Yeah, so I started a film business, but my ultimate goal, because I was trained as a journalist, and also I did a lot of filmmaking when I worked with Watoto. So when I thought of starting a business, that naturally was like, yeah, let me start a film business. So I shot weddings, some documentaries, some commercials for a company or two. And so that landed me into, I did some work for a real estate business person, a realtor. So then when I met this person, I was like, I want to learn how to do real estate. So he introduced me to a platform that has taught me a lot about investing. Everything I know about investing, most of it I've learned from this platform. All the different ways you can do a transaction, how to find the money, how to find the deals. So that's what I do right now. My wife and I, we have a real estate investing business where we buy houses and improve them and then sell them, or we buy houses and keep them, right? Because I think one thing I realized when I moved here was, I don't know how many of you guys look at your pay stub and you're like, oh, I work this much and I'm only keeping this much, a third of my income, right? That
Yeah.
is that is really the situation with every W2, every employee, unless you have a side gig. Like Liz, hopefully you're using this for business so that you're able to write off a lot of your expenses. So that
Yes.
is the secret. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually. And I've been thinking this corona when it happened. I was thinking it's not good to actually just rely on a job, just a job. If you have the skills, if you have the ability to go into entrepreneurship, that is the way to go. Self-employment kind of helps you be stable in
Yeah.
times like this.
Yeah. And I'll say this to whoever is listening, whether live or recorded, the best financial decision you can ever do when you live in America is to start a small business.
However small it is.
However small, even if it's selling lemonade on the side of the street, right? There is a lot of opportunities. You could buy jeans and resell them on eBay. That's a small
Yeah.
business. That is the best you can ever do. Trying to do a W2 and hope that things are going to add up, that's not ever going to cut it. Or you're going to
No.
take a really long time. There is this, we like to say now, as we are teaching people, because we train people, or like the education that has taught us what we have turned into as investors, we refer to other people. So we have this saying where the 40-40-40 plan, whereby unless you have a small business on the side, you are going to work for 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week, for 40 years of your life to retire on only 40% of your income, right? But then when you have a side business, that means you can potentially write off your phone, write off your internet, write off a fraction of your house because you use it as a home office, right? If you do those calculations, then how many write-offs, how much do you get write-offs for?
Some EBM is so funny. He said, now I write off my expenses on my YouTube income, depending on being employed. Uncle Sam takes a lot from your paycheck.
But
Owning a business is the best way to enjoy. Yeah, that's the way
absolutely,
to go.
because one of my biggest culture shocks, I can tell you, was my paycheck. Because when you're in Uganda or wherever else, everywhere else in the world, and the American dream, Then when you get to America and you start working and then you get your pay stub, you look
and
at
you
it
can
like,
had and you can
oh,
hardly pay your bills.
what am I missing, right?
Hmm.
So I think,
It's ridiculous how you look at all these deductions. You know, the gross pay is kind of really good. You look at it, you're excited
mhm,
until you have to pay a bajillion taxes. And
exactly.
then on that, you have to pay insurance. And then after insurance,
Mhm,
you're like, what is going on? It's taking like all 75% of what you earn. So, how
absolutely,
much are you saving? There's
right?
literally
So
nothing.
now this is the catch. You remember, if you forget anything else, remember this proportions I'm going to give you. So if you are just doing your W-2 job, you're spending 30% of your income on taxes, you're spending another 30% on interest, and then you're living off of 30%. Okay. But on the other end, if you have a small business, because most of your lifestyle actually becomes a tax write-off, right? You end up, you remember the 30-30-30
Hmm.
proportions I told you? As a business owner, you can, if you leverage the right tools, you can end up living off of 80%. And so the rest of the proportion, 20%, 10% is interest, and 10% is taxes. Think about it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, small business, I really encourage my friends, immigrants, even Americans, find a small business, get enlightened about how to get into entrepreneurship. It doesn't have to be hard because people really overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
hard. And I would actually, Liz, this is an offer that I'm making to whoever is on this show or whoever watches this later on. I have, in my investor friends, we have a seminar, a summit that we are attending in May, and it's bringing together 30 entrepreneurs, millionaire entrepreneurs, over 4 days of training. 30 entrepreneurs. Some of them are tax advisors, tax attorneys. They are going to be teaching us about business. Whether you're in startup mode or you're a big business and you want to scale your business or you want to do online business, I would recommend that training, and I'll make the link available to you, Liz, so you can share it for whoever is interested.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
send it to me and I'll post it for whoever will want to join the training.
Yeah. And it's free, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's free. So, yeah.
So Eric has a question. How can you identify a business opportunity to invest on and you can analyze it really it's going to pick up? I'll just say briefly what I think and then you can add on since for you you have already done it. So for me, coming from a different background and going into, okay, let's say coming from Uganda and coming to America, when you come here, you see a lot of gaps because you're coming from a different culture, a different country. So whenever you travel, you see gaps. And for me, I would say if you have the opportunity to fill those gaps, that is the first thing I would say. So, for example, here you can look at what your fellow immigrants are lacking. Say people invest in food, you can import food here and sell it on the internet. You can bring crafts from home and sell it on the internet. Things that look at a gap and then utilize that so look at what people will actually buy and then that can I mean that's what I think. So go ahead and you can answer that.
Yeah. There is a lot of business opportunities, right? And like I
Mhm.
said, you don't have to overcomplicate it. For example, case in point, does anybody ever buy stuff off during Amazon Prime? Does anyone ever go to Costco and buy stuff in bulk? Simple business idea. You could buy stuff in bulk during Amazon Prime, hold it and sell it after the prices have gone back up, as simple as that. And Liz, like you mentioned, crafts. Um, if you go to Etsy, you see a lot of amazing crafts on there. You actually have crafts that are coming all the way from Africa that
Yeah.
people, maybe you have a relative coming to visit. They could bring you some crafts, but you do some research and see what our culture, people here like. Maybe you're selling to Ugandans, or maybe you're selling to the whole American population. Just find your market, right? And there is a danger in trying to sell to everyone. I think there is a treasure in finding your niche, right? And focusing on those. Otherwise, trying to buy for everyone sometimes can be frustrating. So I
Yeah, at
think,
the beginning.
yeah, there is opportunities everywhere. Ladies, braids. I actually almost got into selling braids, but I was like, okay,
Well, you could,
yeah.
but the problem is if your wife didn't have the same type of hair, because she would like help you try them on and do the review, because people want to know, have you used it,
Mhm.
how is it, and that's mostly how it works these days. But
Yeah,
yeah, those braids, oh my goodness, it's a good business. Those
yeah.
wigs.
Nails.
Yeah, and all that. And you see, that's what I said. If you have a skill, you can totally exploit here, and you have better chances of thriving.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wait, in Uganda, mostly it is more theoretical if you go to school than the practical. So I was thinking, why didn't anyone ever tell me how to do things like tailoring, how
Mhm.
to do some of these practical skills? Because I mean, if I knew how to do tailoring, I wouldn't
Mhm.
be going for a job. I'll just set up in my garage.
Right.
You
Yeah.
just open the door and you buy the machine and you put a sign. That's how you begin.
Right.
I've seen so many businesses that started from as garage sales, and
Exactly.
they're doing so well.
Absolutely. I mean, I work from home. Like, I can make all my calls, interface with my clients online, and then maybe sometimes go to the field, find a house and flip it, whatever. But yeah, there is a lot of businesses you can do from home. Printing t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
Some of you are artists. You can print t-shirts and sell them. Like I said, if you find the market, the right market, you could you could do that. There is people that sell used clothes. Can you imagine? So
Yeah.
that's one of the things that struck me, how like Savers or what is that,
Goodwill.
Goodwill, all those Goodwill shops, you
Mm.
can make a lot of money buying stuff when you, that is the first place I shopped when I moved to America, was Goodwill.
I like
So
their stuff.
they have good stuff. Yeah, you can buy stuff there and resell it on. There is all these little apps. You just post it on your phone. It's not like you're gonna have to set up a shop. We have
Mhm.
actually moved drastically away from brick and mortar. Right now, you
Mhm.
can actually use your phone, use an app, buy the product, have it at home, take a picture of it, make maybe some description, and post it and wait.
Yeah, and just
Facebook
wait.
Marketplace.
I
Yeah,
was going to say that.
yeah. So the thing about business, to be able to take advantage of tax write-offs, first of all, you don't even have to have an LLC to start with. You can start as a solo proprietor, right? And then as your business grows, then you can register an LLC. Why? Because there's benefits to
Yeah.
that. There is protection, right? Entity protection, protecting you from your business, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I would definitely encourage anyone out there to get started, because you can make all these tax write-offs as soon as you make your first cent or dollar in business. It doesn't
Right.
have to be $10 or 10,000. As long as you make some money in business, then you can take advantage of the write-offs.
I agree. There's a company that reached out to me recently and wanted me to review their products on my channel. And when I read the description of their
Mhm.
business, they started, like you said, they just started by they had an idea of helping mothers. So somebody just had an idea, sat down on a machine, made this cloth, and then just put it on the internet. And
Mhm.
guess what? People liked it. They gave reviews. Then she kept doing
Absolutely.
more and more. And right now she has her own page. She sells to hundreds and thousands of people
Yeah.
as I talk. And that was not even long ago. That was about
Mhm.
3 years ago.
Yeah. YouTube is, I mean, all these platforms are amazing. I can tell you, I've made at least 10 grand off of Facebook. These platforms are powerful. Facebook is the biggest marketplace in the whole world.
So much. It is. I agree.
YouTube, I think YouTube, followed by YouTube, and then
Instagram.
Instagram, exactly. So yeah, this is
You know,
this is an opportunity for us to build legacies for us, our
yeah.
children, our loved ones. So
That's true. I've been thinking, how much time do you spend looking on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube compared to them to when you sit down at home and watch TV? People don't even watch TV
right,
anymore. When you're walking, you're in the car, you're going to look at what's trending on Twitter or on Facebook, and that's it. So people have started to advertise more on Facebook,
hmm
on
hmm
YouTube, on Instagram, because they know that is where the audience is.
hmm
On TV, yes, but people don't have the time to sit down and watch TV. They just want to, anytime I want to read something, I have my phone, I'm going to scroll down and what's going on YouTube, who has died, DMX, and they'll find it. So
right,
I feel like the transitioning is happening now.
exactly.
Yes, and if you want to target an audience, it is Facebook, it is YouTube, it is Instagram, and that's it. Period.
And
Because from the Instagram, then people don't want to wait until a certain time to sit down and watch TV at 7 p.m. like it used to be. They
hmm
want to know something, they will Google, they will find it immediately. So the world has changed
a
into
lot.
this kind of online. It's nice. I mean, you can
Yeah,
always find anything you want on your
like
fingertips.
yeah, and literally, quite literally, our lives are in our hands.
Isn't that
Our
right?
future is in our hands.
It is, and it's amazing because, like the other day, how I come, for example, myself, like how I come to know about what's trending or what's going on in the world. I just get my phone. Like I never have time to go in the living room and sit down and switch on the news. I just
Yeah,
use my phone,
you
and
do it.
so I was thinking, how
Exactly.
many other people do that? My husband does the same. My friends do the same. Back
hmm
home, people do the same. So you're thinking, if you want an audience, if you want to advertise a product, you guys, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, they are the first people to post what is going on or what
hmm
you want. And then later on, of course, if you're still old school, that's okay. You can still sit down and wait for the news at 7 p.m. or 5
hmm
p.m. because they have
Yeah,
to edit, they have to wait. But anyway, yeah, that's you're right. Facebook, Instagram, whatever, these are the platforms now that people are searching for information on. These are the
absolutely.
major search engines we have lately. And
Yeah,
if we utilize them, we will be better persons tomorrow.
absolutely. And really, I'll say this, there is a method to the madness. So all these platforms have algorithms, right? And that is one of the things that is going to be touched in our trainings. There is algorithms, they favor certain behaviors over other behaviors. So there is things that you will do on Facebook that will make Facebook flag your post or put it at the bottom of the stack, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So you kind of want to learn what would work in my best interest on Facebook,
Yes.
right? So that
Mhm.
I rate way high so everyone can see my posts or my whatever I posted. So
Yeah, that's right. And it's the same with YouTube.
yeah.
For example, if your niche, or if you keep talking about things that are very sensitive, say
hmm
you talk about stuff like of course, if I mention them, this it's also like it's a computer algorithm, it catches on what you're saying, speech,
hmm
words, stuff like that. But if you're talking about sensitive topics, whatever, it will catch on that. And usually if you're monetized, that can also reduce your revenue.
Wow.
So it's quite crazy. You just have to know. And
Exactly.
of course people kind of still do it, but yeah, you just have to know that this is what it is. You have to follow the guidelines, the rules, and just do what you want to do and be
hmm
happy if you're getting something, and thrive and share the information. I like YouTube for sharing information, insights. Everything you want to research, you can find it. It's demonstrated, different videos. It's a good platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will share 5 pillars of wealth actually. And just think about this. If you're looking to grow wealth, there is 5 pillars that you'd want to have some knowledge of. And one of those, and particularly in America, but everywhere in the world, one of them is taxes. You need to learn how taxes work where you are. Number 2, you need education in whatever you're trying to do, your business. How does business run, right? Number 3, small business. Like I said, small businesses in the US, they attract the most tax write-offs. It's actually about 400 tax write-offs compared to 20 for an average person, right? Number 4 is real estate. Most people name all the billionaires in this world, trillionaires. I don't know if there's any trillionaires. They all save or grow their wealth in real estate. So learning about how real estate works would be very beneficial. Number 5 is banking.
I love real estate.
Yeah, learning how banking works, because in this country, you can hardly do anything without credit.
Yeah, you can't survive.
So learning that is going to set you apart in building wealth, because we all really want to build wealth for us and for our loved ones, leave
The
legacies.
children.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I love real estate. And in fact, yeah, like I wish I would, if I had an opportunity, I would jump into it and see what it is. But sometimes you just have to wait and look through it, read, see weigh the cons and pros, and see if you're able to do it.
Do you get scared by real estate because of what kind of concerns you about it?
So what concerns me much about it is the fact that I don't have enough knowledge on how it works, especially coming from a different background. I have to know so much about all these taxes, about these mortgages, about so much. There's so much to learn. And also, of course, dealing with people, you have to be equipped with skill and knowledge. You're not going to come to people and start guessing, then you're not going to get a good market.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do some. We have trainings about real estate all the time, because really, regardless what's happening in the market, you can make money on real estate. I'll tell you that, right? So real estate is actually one of the most sure business you can ever do. But like you said, it needs knowledge. You have
you need the knowledge.
And we have knowledge. If you're looking for a place that has knowledge, we have knowledge that we can share.
Right.
Or a place that you can learn from. So
right. And you know what I've been thinking? So it's the same with YouTube. YouTube has particular, maybe it's the same with Facebook. I don't know much about Facebook or Instagram, but YouTube does the same thing of when you have a particular niche, if you're best in, say, real estate, and I forget the other one, but they favor those niches better than a regular lifestyle like I do, and gossip, news. Yeah. So if you're in real estate, your CPM is higher than most of the other niches.
Yeah.
So when you talked about that, I was like, yeah, that's a good point, because I read so much, by the way. I am always reading. If I'm not doing something, and now I'm hooked on YouTube and Google, I'm always reading. So when you talked about that, I agree with you 100%. Real estate. So if you see these people that showcase real estate on their channels, those make good money.
Yeah, we're planning on starting a YouTube channel. Talk about basic stuff, right? Because real estate has blessed us, and we would love to share this with other people, right? We'd love to share it. Why? Because when you have real estate, essentially there's about 5 ways you can make money. You can depreciate. If it's a rental, you can depreciate it every year. You get money back from the government, or the government forgives you every year. Why? Because they assume the real estate is crumbling, right? It's losing value, even though it's not, right? Then also appreciation. Every year that goes by, real estate is always on the appreciation. Every now and then it corrects a little bit, but it's always in appreciation. So the longer you hold it, the more value that it gains, right? Then there is, as a small business owner, obviously you also get the tax benefits. Yeah, so it's a gift that keeps giving, and I would highly encourage our colleagues, immigrant friends, our fellow Ugandans, learn about it, and try to get your foot into it. You don't have to be consumed like I'm a full-time person. You can just have a rental, even having a rental will change things drastically for you.
That's right. And I've been thinking so many people, even I mean immigrants, non-immigrants, they sit on this money to save it, but you're not saving much,
Yeah.
like putting it into a bank. Like if
Yeah.
I was in their shoes, because of course I don't have that much money, but if I was in their shoes sitting on $40,000 in the bank, I don't know, like my mind is always thinking, what can I use that for? What can I use that for? So that I invest it so that I get more. Because the bank, well, it's just keeping your money
Do
and
you
even
know
taxing.
the bank is actually, when you keep your money in the bank, you're actually losing money because there is inflation. Your money
Yeah.
is being hit by inflation, but the bank lends it to somebody else at a much higher interest, way higher, and they give you 0.0001%. Whereas you who has borrowed the money for your house, they
Mm.
tell you that you're borrowing it at 3% interest. But if you compare that to your credit card, that's like 60% interest. So yeah, it's not the best move to keep your money in the bank. You're better
Yeah,
off investing it.
that's right. Yeah, so thank you so much again for joining us today. It has really been so insightful. From the comments, I can see people appreciate and they have learned something, one or two things. And I'm glad you came in to give us a bit of
Yeah.
information, share with
Thank
us
you.
your experience.
Absolutely. Thank you for having this platform. I really commend you for getting out of your way to just share insights, bring, value to people out there, experiences. So keep doing what you're doing, and I look forward to, more conversations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I didn't want to keep you so long because I know
Yeah.
you had previously said you didn't have much time, but but I
Yeah.
see we even went much over the time we
Yeah.
had
I
planned.
remember. Today is my birthday, so my wife planned a getaway, so she'll be back soon, and then we'll have to head out. So thank you. I'm glad I was able to make this long.
Okay, so Kamga is my friend from Cameroon. He also has where am I saying Facebook? I think it's from you mentioning Facebook so much. He also has a YouTube channel. So he says he would like to interview you.
I would,
Um, so
yeah,
do
I
you
would
have
be
like
happy
an
to.
email?
Yeah, be happy to exchange emails. info@nroyinc.com.
Uh,
info@nroyinc.com. INFO. I could actually type it
um,
into the.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so you've posted it. Let me see.
and I'll send you the link too, just so you can share with your guests or whoever is interested.
Okay. Okay,
For
so Kamga, you can get in touch with him um on the email. So give me 1 second.
Huh?
Yeah, the last link I shared was our summit that's coming up for business
Okay.
owners or people looking to do business or learn from the ground up or scale their businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, or do social media business, anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Mommy.
Okay, that's good. So right. Okay, so thank you again for coming in today on short notice again. I
Sure.
appreciate, and happy birthday. We didn't even say happy
Thank
birthday
you.
at the beginning. This
I'm
is
coming
the
for cake. You
this is
know,
the master singer. Do you wanna
my
sing?
wife's my wife's sisters live in Colorado, so I usually come through there.
Oh, cool. Whenever you come by, give me a shout out. I'll be
Yeah, where
glad
in
to
where in
see.
Colorado are you?
We are in the Denver area.
Yeah, so we usually go up to Crested Butte, but yeah, happy to swing by.
Okay, sing. Okay, sing.
Happy
Birthday
birthday
to you.
to
No, you have to sing for him. Then we go.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I will join you.
birthday to
Happy birthday to
Sing.
me.
Say happy birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to you.
you. Happy Happy
Birthday,
birthday,
dear
dear Roy.
Roy.
Happy
Happy birthday
birthday to
to
you.
you.
Clap.
Oh, thank you.
Say bye-bye.
Bye
Thanks a
bye.
lot. See ya. Say hi to everyone. Thanks a lot,
Okay.
Liz.
Okay,
Blessings.
bye-bye. We shall keep in
Bye-bye.
touch. Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye-bye. Hi, guys. So, thank you guys for joining me today. I am so blessed and to have you guys on the show today. And thank you for tuning in. Those of you that have subscribed, you're already on the family. Remember to put your notifications on so that whenever I go live, whenever something happens, you are able to get notified. So, today we just came in to just give you insights about real estate, about entrepreneurship, about looking for those gaps if you're looking to do business, start your own business, stuff like that. My guest Roy is into that, and I'm glad he came through to share with us today. So thank you for joining us, and if you have any more questions, you can let me know. I have an email, a business email on my about tab. So you can always email me about anything you want to ask, or if you have any business inquiries, whatever you want to ask, please go ahead. And yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, this is the time for you to subscribe. And also, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you guys for always joining me. Yeah, I mean, it's you guys are the real MVP. You're the real guys. Kamga, thank you for joining me. I thought you were working, so thank you for chipping in and saying hi. Eric, thank you so much. Let me see if there's any comment I didn't actually reply to. EBM, thank you for coming in. I don't know how to say your name. Axo from South Africa, thank you so much. The Ugandan village wife, as always. Anantume Esther, thank you so much for coming in today. All right. And so I'm going to end this live stream in about 5 minutes. But I just wanted to say thank you guys for always tuning in. Today I was going live straight from my kitchen. But because there's not much lighting inside my house, so I decided to do it from here. So thank you again, guys, for joining in today. So I'm going to end this stream, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Ciao, ciao. Stay positive.